If you've been falsely accused, you're probably going through one of the worst moments in your life. You're angry, you're scared, and desperate to clear your name. But before you do anything, make sure that you avoid these 10 mistakes when responding to false allegations. Number one, never attack the person who made the false allegations. It's understandable that you're traumatized. It's understandable that you're scared. You want to protect your reputation, your job. You're going to be angry at the person who made these dishonest allegations. But attacking them is going to backfire on you because it makes you look mean. It doesn't enhance your credibility, and it does nothing to demonstrate your innocence. So whatever you do, despite whatever temptation you may have, never attack the accuser. Focus on the facts. Number two, don't defend yourself until you fully understand the allegation or allegations that are being made against you. Okay? Some people get so reactive because they're so shocked and so distraught that they start writing emails or drafting letters protesting these allegations and saying how innocent they are, but they haven't really stopped to understand what the allegations are, what the burden of proof is, and to step back and think about how to best strategize, okay, how to best present the facts to show your innocence. So don't react when you face false allegations. Step back and give yourself time to meaningfully respond. Number three, treat every single word as potential evidence. Every email that you write, every text message that you send, assume that it will be scrutinized and can even be misconstrued. So be very careful about what you write. When in doubt, don't write anything at all, because what you write becomes permanent and it could become evidence. Number four, don't fill in gaps in your memory. There's going to be times during an investigation where you don't remember something. Say you don't remember. It doesn't undermine your credibility. It shows you're being honest. Don't speculate. Don't guess. Because when you do that, you could be wrong. You could wind up later contradicting yourself or creating some inconsistency. If you don't know the answer or don't remember a specific detail, say it. Period. Number five, stop trying to figure out the false accuser's motive. Again, I understand how traumatizing this is. It's going to make you angry. It's going to create instability and uncertainty about your reputation, your job, and your future. And you may be tempted to say, why would this person make these false allegations? Well, the truth is, you're never probably going to know the underlying motivation. Furthermore, knowing that motivation doesn't help you at all. It doesn't help you prove your innocence. It doesn't help you present the facts in the most persuasive way. All it does is distract you, and often in a very negative way. So forget about motives, focus on you and the facts. Number six, don't let one small mistake destroy your credibility. Even one little white lie during an investigation can cause an investigator to question every single thing that you say. So always be upfront and be honest, even if that means admitting to some facts that are bad, that are not helpful to you, because you always have an opportunity to explain the context, and people know that, none of us are perfect. But you will always want to make sure that you are seen as honest and credible, and even the smallest white lie can destroy that. Ask yourself this question when you are contesting these allegations or writing a statement. What would someone else who was looking at this think of what you're writing, of how you're presenting? In other words, you want to try to not look at the situation solely from your point of view. You want to try to step back and, to the greatest extent possible, look at this from a different perspective, someone who's objectively assessing the situation and not as emotionally invested. If you're able to do that, then you may be able to identify weaknesses in your approach and reform them accordingly, and also understand the different perspectives that may be relevant to a decision in your case. So step outside your own shoes and see the issues from a different point of view. Number 8, don't try to win the first conversation. If you're called into a meeting with HR or whatever investigator, don't treat the first meeting as, this is the meeting where I'm going to conclusively establish my innocence and I'm going to present every single fact to show that I didn't violate any policies, that these allegations are false, and it's going to be, an incredible presentation. No. Relax. Investigations take time, weeks, sometimes months. Okay? You want to play the long game. Your obligation in that first meeting, or your goal in that first meeting, is simply to come across as credible, to come across as honest. Then everything flows from that. First impressions are so critical. Regardless of whether you're innocent or guilty, first impressions create the perception that others have of you and your credibility. That's what that first meeting is about, what you should focus on. Number 9, and relatedly, your greatest asset isn't proof. It's not evidence. It's credibility. Because the first thing, and even the last thing, that investigators in HR or anywhere else are going to ask themselves, do I believe this person's story? Because everybody, even the false accuser, who may actually somehow believe these false allegations, everyone's going to have a different story. So how do they determine which story is the one that is closest to reality? They do that by making an assessment as to your honesty. That's why it's important sometimes all the time, to admit if there are facts that aren't favorable to you or if there's mistakes that you made. That's okay. You can explain then why they shouldn't affect the outcome or the determination that's made. But it shows that you're being honest. And if anyone ever doubts your honesty, they will doubt your story. And then all assumptions will be made against you. All inferences will be made against you. Okay? Credibility is everything. Finally, number 10, it's okay to get emotional within reason. Now, I know a lot of advice out there is always make sure you never get emotional. Always be calm. Well, come on. When you're facing false allegations, it's terribly disruptive to your life. It's terribly traumatic. And the stakes are incredibly high, and the uncertainty really can affect you in so many ways. So it's okay to be naturally emotional in response to that, okay? Because you're being authentic. Because a reasonable person is going to show some degree of frustration, of fear, of sadness. Now, the second part I said is within reason. You don't want to go into a meeting crying your eyes out, screaming at the top of your lungs, viciously attacking in the most furious way the accuser. No, that's going to destroy your credibility. But you don't need to go to the other extreme too and act like you have no emotions about this issue, because we all know that you do. Emotions within reason are a reflection of authenticity, and authenticity is important to credibility. I hope these tips helped you, and I hope you liked the video. If you did, please hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you soon.